Phlegm Parish.
That's me.
Phlegm Birch.
Yeah, that's a Kim Birch, John Burr. It just works.
Mm-hmm.
Well played. Here we go. Recording. All right, and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast, NBA podcast. My name is Keith, here once again with my buddies through the miracle of computer phone. I'm here with Chuck Anderson.
Hey now.
And with John Burr.
Mahalo, everyone.
Mahalo. We're recording on a Monday morning. I love me a Monday morning recording. I feel like it's the way Fast Break Breakfast should work. It is breakfast time, sort of.
Not for like a working man. I had breakfast 4 hours ago.
That's fair. I had breakfast. I mean, I've been up for a while. Took the kids, dropped them off at their respective schools. Waited out a bit of a storm line.
That mean taking two dumps?
Was coming through Nashville. Not even a euphemism. I took the kids to the public school. Nothing to do with the toilet. No, had to wait out the storm line though, because I guess we now know when it's like, hey, there's a front coming through, severe something. Let's just wait. Well, you'll be 5 minutes late to school. Are there any repercussions for my son being late to school? I have literally no idea. Like, is it tardy? Are they going to call me with a stern letter? Like, does he lose something?
Goes on his permanent record.
Is it permanent record? Do we talk about?
He's a truant.
I think it just makes the teachers and administrators hate that parent.
I think that's basically it. Unless your kid is like my son and punches the teachers and administrators in his school, and then they're like, "Oh, he's not here. Thank God." Yeah.
No, I mean, my son's doing fine. He's got whatever. He's in first grade. He gets what he gets an E. It's all E's. Everything's excellent. So I guess nothing to worry about. My
son is Conor McGregor on the playground. He is fighting everyone.
Did we talk about this? I actually got a truancy letter.
You did?
For absences. And I was like, he tested positive for COVID. We kept him out. Like, what do you want? Like, what's wrong with his system? How is the system so backwards?
It's all automated.
I'm ready for the Ferris Bueller remake with the fake COVID results.
Well, so that is one thing about parenting that no one's taught me, and I don't know if it's a thing. Like, if my kid is sick, am I supposed to send some kind of notarized form? Like, I think I'm supposed to email somebody. But now we have these apps. There's like a school app where the teacher like sends us messages, and that thing is like an upsell. They're like, hey, do you want to see more of your son's pictures from school today? Why don't you upgrade to this pro? It's like, I'm not paying for this stupid school app. But anyway, they were like, hey, your kid's been truant. I'm like, he was sick. And then so I talked to the person on the phone and then emailed him, and they're like, he was out these days. And I'm like, yeah, he was sick. Yeah. So, I mean, what do you want? We're not going to the doctor's office.
I'll never forget reading Philip K. Dick novels, and they would have things like, oh, you're going to have to pay to unlock your own door. And me being like, that's so absurd. That would never happen. And now it's like, pretty sure I just downloaded an app called like Ring where I'm basically paying to lock and unlock my door every day.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Well, then at one point, they're gonna start raising the prices. And you're like, do you want to go home?
Nah,
you can't even afford to go home in this economy.
Yeah, at least the pay toilets are just in public. They're not at our house.
Yeah.
Could you get? I mean, when is the water company gonna be like? Listen,
I would pay $1 every time to use my bidet.
Like, sure.
Upcharge me the bidet. Oh. For sure, all bidet.
At one point, will they be like, listen, you haven't done great at paying your bills. We're now going to put a lock on your faucet, and you got to like swipe your credit card each time. It's like a per use flush.
It's coming.
I like to rent a 12-minute shower, please.
It's going to be Antoine Walker is going to be the first person that it happens to. It'll be Antoine and AI.
Have you guys had a breakfast on this Monday morning where it's not that early? Chuck, 4 hours ago at working man hours, what was your breakfast?
A bowl of granola. Back at it Monday.
Can you make up any color for our listeners to make that more
brown,
interesting?
It's beige.
Beige Nola.
It turns my oat milk like
there we go,
like a light brown when I'm done.
You know you're struggling when oat milk is the flavor we're after, the color.
I'm not struggling. I'm thriving, baby. I feel great, but I'm losing it. It's a lot of granola. It's a lot of granola.
You also look like on the Zoom here, you look like you're in a principal's office. It's not
you look like Principal Chuck.
You really do.
Yeah.
You're wearing a collared shirt. You look
like a
your
teacher
employee.
You look like a teacher who is also called Coach.
The teacher's also called Coach.
Coach David Dufour.
I feel like an incredible. Have we done a count of consecutive weeks mentioning Dave Dufour?
No, because I edit it out every time John mentions it. Like I will edit out that mention. It has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, this is my hutch. Look at it. I got Jimmy. I got a cut.
Wait, are you in your house?
This is my house.
Is this a different part? Oh, you just switched it around.
I just moved. I'm on the other side of the table. You're used to seeing this view.
Oh, wow. That's a transformational experience. And then this is like a sitcom where you built a studio. Right now you're in the principal's office.
We've gone from
you're in a horrifying singles pad.
Chandler Bing's apartment to Central Perk.
Yeah, that was kind of amazing. Hopefully this will go up on YouTube. John, what was your breakfast?
I haven't had breakfast yet today, but I had an astounding breakfast yesterday that I'd like to go through.
Oh yes, please.
I had I guess they're originally frozen, but you put them in the frying pan, hash browns. Pretty good. And then I had two I can't remember the name of the bakery, but I had two, and then by the end of the day, had 3 pastries. And I had like 7 pieces of bacon.
Nice.
And a plate full of hash browns.
Wow.
So let's talk about hash browns. Were you talking shredded hash browns?
Yes. That's only kind of like.
Yeah.
What do you even call the other ones? Just loaf?
I guess those are
home fries. Fries.
Country potatoes.
Yes. I get mad when people call them hash browns and then bring them to you.
Yeah.
No. And it's like, these are not hash browns. I also don't think that the thing that they give you at McDonald's or Bojangles is just like a parallelogram of potato. Yep. I don't
hash brown
acknowledge
brick.
that. Yeah, that's a different kind of hash brown.
But it is good.
Waffle House, scattered, smothered hash brown.
Yeah, do you know those are very hard to make at home? Like
you have to
from
shred
a potato. Yeah. It's a lot
Chuck,
of
everything's hard for me to make at home.
Right.
I get it. My problem with that though is you usually got to get the water out of it, or if you fry them up on a skillet, they turn into like this gelatinous, like mucky mess.
I will say, my mother-in-law of sorts, they were nigh on. You couldn't cut them with a fork. That's how.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the best hash browns, but it was almost just that it was evocative of hash browns.
Yeah, it is.
Used to go eat at 3 a.m. amongst the folk.
So what I found is you gotta rinse the shredded hash browns before you put it on the frying pan, and then you gotta let them dry out, or else you're gonna get that situation. They have a system at Waffle House because those hash browns are perfect every time. Flawless.
I think that system is called Cisco Foods, which delivers
frozen
food.
Those are GMO
to restaurants all over the country.
Genetically modified to not have starch in it.
They call it potato meat.
My breakfast, I had some gluten-free chocolate chip cookies. These are the Outcast. My wife eats them for her health. But when they're no longer fresh, she makes them anew, and I eat the leftovers. So I'm like, listen, I don't care if a cookie's a week old.
To have a caste system in your own home.
Yeah, like what am I, nuts? I could have that. So I had.
But Keith, I'm going to get away with just eating 3 Danishes. No retort. Sweet. I was proud of myself. I also got an insane sugar high Like insane.
Well, I mean, you kept listing off breakfast foods. I felt like you were fishing for a response, and my natural inclination is to avoid that. It's like,
I'm doing my best not to body shame anymore. It's one of my.
Hey, I told you guys. I did the science. It doesn't matter what I eat, and I don't have to work out. Nothing is happening. I look the same. I weigh the same. It's over. I'm just gonna roll until I get the fetus, and then I'll lose weight.
Yeah,
I figured this out.
You lose 6 pounds real fast when they chop off your foot.
That's right, baby.
Also, with the gluten-free chocolate chip cookies, I actually cut it with a handful of dried Cheerios, trying to make it feel like a little bit better. You know,
okay.
Not, you know, like I ate the cookie, and then I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll have a few Cheerios. So it wasn't. Well, it wasn't the best breakfast, but that's where we are. That's what we're dealing with right now. Anyway, those were our breakfasts. After our breakfasts, we move to our breakfast in bed apologies. This is our chance to make right what we might have gotten wrong on a previous episode. It's frequently the first time we talk about the NBA, so we should do that now. Let's talk about the NBA. What's something that either one of you want to apologize for? I'll pitch in when you're done.
I'll go ahead and get it started. I did something that no NBA dork should do. I'm going to apologize to my exterminator, Daryl. I'm sorry. Daryl came by to spray for bugs like you do, saw the assortment of Miami Heat BS I have, not because I'm really a Miami Heat fan, but because they, for a minute there, had the best merch in the land. And he brought up Victor Oladipo. And I should have just been like, he was like, man, we're gonna be something when Victor Oladipo comes back.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, you just need to be like, yeah, man.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Real good.
Absolutely. You should. That's gonna be it. That'll put you right over the top. Way to go, Daryl.
Why do you think that? Yeah.
Instead, that's not what I did, guys. That's not what I did at all. I literally brought up advanced stats to my exterminator.
Yeah. How loud did you do it? Because I have fears of you.
I like chickened out halfway through.
We're like, Daryl, he sucks. He sucks. Like I thought you'd do something like that. And Daryl's just angry. He's excited about Oladipo coming back. Yeah.
I mean, you didn't have to.
He brought up like he's like 20. He was like you look at him at Houston. He came back 20 points a game right off the. He's just talking. He's trying to connect with me about basketball. He's from Miami.
Yeah.
I've got Miami hats. Damn it.
Yeah.
But no.
He was looking for a friendly face.
If you dig deeper in those stats, young Daryl.
I mean, look, he had a botched quad surgery before he was in Houston. Never really recovered. The surgery went well from what I've read.
Oh, here we go. Chuck's going to talk about
No. Here's
the drink the Kool-Aid.
No, here's the thing. Here's where I'm like, I don't know if he'll make the team better. It isn't that he's not good. I don't think he supplants Caleb Martin.
You couldn't look at Daryl John, your exterminator, and say, you're telling me he's going to play better than Gabe Vincent?
I did bring up Gabe Vincent.
So, I mean, and I'm not trying to get all advanced stats on you, but Caleb Martin's per 100 possessions, he's averaging 20 points a game.
Chuck texts me about Caleb Martin replacing Jimmy Butler daily.
He's in. Look, I'm having these weird things where I'm like, I think I like Caleb Martin to close out because he can actually hit a three.
I had quite a morning with Daryl. I forget, like, people in like places like Miami and like New Orleans like to pretend that they like live in some like European commune within America. Miami is the South, bro. As long as there's white people living under the Mason-Dixon line, Miami is the South. And my morning with Daryl reminded me that the South will rise again. I'm really sorry, Daryl. You enjoy your Victor Oladipo. You're doing it the right way. I'm sorry I brought up advanced stats in the middle of a long work day.
You're supposed to. You're supposed to uplift instead of denigrate.
This is a guy who was just looking for a friendly conversation with a fellow Miami Heat fan, and you had to talk about efficiency.
I was so terrible. I even brought
about efficiency with them.
I used to like the Heat, and then they got Kyle Lowry. I even had to get my Kyle Lowry.
That's amazing. It was nothing speaks to the common basketball fan with John explaining why he flipped on a team because of their new uniform designs and a guy who draws charges.
He doesn't like
the guy was looking for a nod and a thumbs up, and instead I just vomited my horrible personality.
The guy was working, literally at work. Who knows how many miserable people he had to interact with.
I've already made him put a mask on.
He's like, this guy. At least I can talk to the NBA with this guy. And then you just criticize his opinions. Chuck, what's your apology?
I'm sorry to Spencer Dinwiddie. I doubted you. This is a man who knows crypto.
Did he shave his goatee?
I don't know. I haven't seen his actual face.
No, he still has the goatee.
He still has a goatee.
I'm not apologizing to him until he shaves his goatee. But
I can't remember. He might have. I know he still has that little cool fro that I enjoyed and have enjoyed.
Great.
But yeah, Dinwiddie, since he left Washington, which is apparently like kryptonite for good basketball players.
Kryptonite.
Yeah, get it. He's 22-6 on 50%, 57% shooting. This is a man who understands.
They won without Luka.
He was the reason they beat the Kings. Well, I mean, it's the Kings, but he's the reason they beat the Kings.
I can't believe the Kings lost that game. That's another one. I have this bad habit of turning off games now. I guess that's what happened. That's aging. I'm just an old man now. And that was one where I didn't find out till the next day. I was like, what? I thought the Kings were rolling in this Luka-less matchup against the Mavericks.
I think it was brilliant Spencer Dinwiddie moves, because how does he get traded if he's actually a good player, right? He would have still been in Washington if he wasn't shooting like 20% from the floor like he did in his last 11 games for the Wizards. So he deflated his value. He made everybody was like, yeah, just throw him in.
Pump and dumped his own crypto.
Pumped and dumped his own stock.
That's impressive. I didn't know that. Yeah, he was.
He stopped himself.
That's a great stat. I didn't know that, Chuck. Yeah, he was 26% from the floor in his final 10 games on the Wizards.
Trash can juice.
And then
now all of a sudden he remembered how to play basketball when he was on another team playing. But, he was called out. I think Tim McMahon wrote a piece about he felt hurt that the people in Washington called him a locker room pariah and that he was the problem. I think in reality, it just sucks to play for the Washington Wizards. You get 5
might be
games.
The case. Yeah,
it might be the case. When they were 10-3, he was averaging 17 a game. And then they inevitably wizarded their way into their current state of ineptitude. And he saw an out and he trashed his value and left. Jeez,
now he's going to end up on the Mavs and then beat my Grizzlies in the playoffs. I'm going to walk into the ocean.
Coming off the bench, he is averaging more than Tyler Hero is.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
We need an update.
I'm dubious. This 5-game stretch of Spencer Dinwiddie has been incredible. The Mavericks are playing very, very well. If he keeps this up, yeah, I think a lot of Western Conference teams might have some problems. I'm still a little bit dubious. I think it's just a little hot stretch.
I think we were just looking at it the wrong way. I think it's a pretty good acquisition for them just because Luka and Kristaps didn't play well together, and this guy fulfills a role that they desperately needed. So
yeah, well,
even if his statistics aren't,
I think we were all fine with the trade. We thought it'd be all right, but
I don't know. I feel like definitely you and probably me were like Spencer Dinwiddie sucks now.
Well, I'm not a fan. Generally, I'm not a fan. I've not been a fan of Spencer Dinwiddie.
But
I don't think he's that good.
I loved him.
But he has
the
been amazing.
Bubble. Recently. I loved him in the bubble with the Nets, and that team was fun. Him and LeVert and Jared Allen. That was a fun team that I rooted for, and I thought he was good on there on that squad.
What about? Did you guys catch any of the Porzingis debut? The Wizards, who have a better record than the Lakers. As Grizzlies fans, we deeply want the Wizards to start tanking to be worse than the Lakers, so the Lakers pick stays in that perfect zone outside of the top 10 in the tankathon standings. But Porzingis was kind of killing it. I mean, Kuzma's been playing awesome.
Was he as amazing as Davis Bertans on the fast break, dishing and diming for the Mavs?
He dunked his first game. He played the.
We got ourselves a Blake Griffin situation.
He was dunking.
Bertans was he was sandbagging, and now he's going to win the dunk contest.
I'm going to
Oh my
apologize. My apology be more like, I guess, confessional of nature. I don't like how I feel with what's going on with the Cavaliers, and I feel bad. I'd like to apologize for thinking that like this team that I was so obsessed with earlier in the year, and I'm kind of playing the hits. I'm kind of going back to a lot of the things I've talked about this year. Actually, I think this whole show, I'm just going to be playing the hits. I'm going to be like the legendary rock band, The Who, who's coming to the FedEx Forum. Hang on, I got to find that date. On Friday, May 13th. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com or the FedEx Forum box office. I didn't plan that. But yeah, I'm going to play the hits, go over some things I really like this show. But one of them is I was obsessed with the Cavaliers early. And then, I'm like, I don't like how things are going. Obviously, they couldn't control the injuries they had. Ricky Rubio, I thought it was bad. Karma to trade away Ricky Rubio. I thought sending out a first round pick for Karis LeVert was like kind of bad money or spending bad money. And like, yeah. And so, but now it's turned out that they've had even more injuries. They've been losing. Garland had to sit out a bunch of games. LeVert hasn't even been playing. And now Jared Allen has broken his finger, is going to miss games. And like, I was getting into it with people online about like, listen, I don't think the Cavs are as good as these other Eastern Conference teams. I'm not saying, I understand you guys have the third best record right now. I understand you had a great year, but I'm saying I think you're going to be bad going forward. And I feel bad, like relative to the other Eastern Conference teams. But now it's gone so poorly for the Cavaliers and things are so bleak. Yes, they finally got a win on Sunday.
Hey, they played the Raptors, who suck.
Right. They beat up on the Raptors, who are all over the place. But like, I think things are going horribly for the Cavaliers, and I feel bad. I usually like being right, but not like this. I feel terrible. I feel bad for initially like kind of gloating, like, see, I told you, and now I'm like, this is too far. It's gone too far. I feel sad for the Cavaliers. I feel bad. Can you guys take that feeling away that I have?
I think you can not feel too badly about it. I feel like I know that they got blown out by the Hornets, but kind of everyone is getting blown out by the Hornets. But they weren't like the only loss that like really stuck out to me is I think they lost to the Pistons in that stretch, but everybody else was kind of a respectable loss. I mean, I get it, but like you said, like you mentioned, they beat up on the Raptors. As long as they beat the teams they're supposed to beat, they're going to be a playoff team, and that's so much better than we ever could have thought. So I think at the end of the day, you can feel. But
if Jared Allen's going to miss time, like they're definitely not better than even this version of the Raptors. Super Saiyan Mobley really struggles to shoot.
So I think if you're a Cavs fan, you have reasons to be hopeful long term, and
sure,
having the raised expectations that their early like rambunctiousness allowed you to sneak into. Maybe for Cavs fans isn't that big of a deal because they don't really have basketball expectations since LeBron left. There is no reason for them to think of anything other than good basketball and a fun team as a success. And this team plays good basketball and they're fun. And JB Bickerstaff's doing wonders with, the guys that he has left. Yeah. It's Dean Wade's dunking on fools.
The Bickerstaff element is still confounding to me.
That's the part.
Well, I think a lot of coaches, maybe like you learn things in your first stop, things that didn't work out. You evolve, you get better. And like John and I were not huge fans of a lot of 10
stops later.
I was the Grizzlies, but like
so
he's working it there.
My first marriage, I wasn't that good of a husband. My next 2 or 3, I probably will be better.
Yeah.
Working on my third on the tail end of my third marriage.
Anyway, those were our breakfast
the downslope
in bed apologies. Before we get to our steak and eggs best thing, I want to tell you guys about Grind City Media. Visit grindcitymedia.com today for the most up-to-date and exclusive coverage and analysis of the Memphis Grizzlies you can get. Grind City Media is always there, home and road, covering the Grizzlies. Plus, you can get your local and regional sports fix all in one spot. For more information and behind-the-scenes access on the Grizzlies, visit grindcitymedia.com or follow on Twitter at grindcitymedia today. All right, steak and eggs, best thing. What's the best thing you saw in the last week? John, what's your steak and eggs?
Hate to do it, but did you guys see the last couple Jason Tatum games, particularly the one against the Grizzlies, but then he went out and had an even better one against the Nets of all people. Especially the Nets game, just like completely took it over, was the best offensive player in a game that featured, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Totally dominated the game, not just with his scoring, but with his decision making and how he decided like strategically to attack the Nets. And it was just one of those performances where it's like, dear God, this is certainly a potential top 5 player, if not better than that. And it was like, and seeing it happen to the Grizzlies is one thing, because that, especially in the fourth quarter, tends to happen against the Grizzlies. Just a great player exploding all over us. But seeing it happen two games in a row against a Nets team that came to play on prime time was it was a wonder to behold.
If you combine his fourth quarter against the Grizzlies, he had 21 against the Grizzlies in the fourth quarter. He had 54 against the Nets. That's 75 points in a 5-quarter stretch there. Yeah. I was blown away with the game on Sunday. I mean, I've been like euphorically high on the Celtics, especially after the Derek White trade. And they stumbled. I think they lost to the Pacers and Pistons, but like mainly they've been awesome.
Well, they're a strange team because they rely so much on their shooting, and they can get so stagnant when their shooting is not, when it's really poor, that it just kind of takes over the entire identity of the team. But when they are the defensive stalwarts that they can be, and they are, relying on when Tatum is doing that, they're of course unbeatable. But then if just one player gets hot, one other player, like if Marcus Smart hits his threes, it does feel like you cannot defeat the Celtics.
I know you really dislike Marcus Smart. How do you feel about his 21 assists combined in the last 2 games?
Wrecked us.
I mean, they wrecked the Grizzlies. They dropped 73 points on the Grizzlies in the second half. If you want more analysis of that depression, check out Grits and Grinds, my Grizzlies show. But yeah, I mean, the Celtics are playing so well right now. And like you said, Tatum was the best offensive player on the court, where the court contained Kyrie and Kevin Durant, and like Kyrie and Durant playing pretty well. Like Durant was in MVP mode. Durant was amazing.
Yeah.
And Jason Tatum was better. And it was just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean,
did we forget about Tatum
happen.
sometimes? Like, when he does stuff like that, it's pretty spectacular.
Tatum's becoming a better passer too over the past couple seasons, and I think that kind of helps him out.
And I think that's the issue with the Celtics. Just like John was mentioning, if the 3-pointers aren't falling, if they don't make 17 threes like they did on Sunday, there's a stagnancy in that offense. That's one of the things we talked about. Like they needed a playmaker, someone to set them up. Like Dennis Schroeder wasn't getting the job done. Derek White isn't a perfect fit, but like it does seem like the ball is moving a little bit better. Maybe it's
weird
because the defense creating opportunities.
It's not like Derek White has jumped on the team and is like Magic Johnson or anything. He's mostly when I've watched him been attacking the basket. It's weird. It's just like that's a team that just kind of gets in and out of feeling itself. Like sometimes you've got Al Horford and Bob Williams, whipping the ball around to wide open guys, and then other times you have Jaylen Brown dribbling for 17 seconds and shooting a long 2. It's a strange team, but definitely a team that in a 7-game series is going to be very interesting to see.
That's them and the Bucks are the 2 teams I'm really, really afraid of as a Heat fan. And I think the fact that they have 2 guys that can kind of almost get a bucket when the game does turn into molasses in the postseason. Like that's scary. And their defense, I mean, they got rim protection, they got length at the wing, they got now Derek White and Marcus Smart can guard pretty much any backcourt combo that you throw at them. That team's gonna make some noise. And I'm scared.
I even messed around with having Al Horford on my negative fantasy team, and it was working pretty sweet for a while. He was in like a little bit of a slump But recently, he's just been like as good as he's ever been. I mean, that might be an exaggeration, but
he just that's just Grizzlies thing because he was so good against us. It was insane.
But he was so good in the game against the Nets as well. We're like he was he's looking really, really awesome. They did a good job unloading Kemba Walker's corpse to bring him back in. My best thing. Also on Sunday, you had the Jason Tatum game, arguably the best game on Sunday. I'm going to play some hits here. I love Nikola Jokic, and oh my goodness, the only thing in the NBA that can beat a Pelicans team that's removed Garrett Temple from the rotation is Nikola Jokic deciding he's not going to lose the game.
Nikola Jokic in overtime.
This game was over. The Pelicans were up by 10, and Jokic just said, I'm going to score every single possession. I am going to make defensive plays. I'm going to foul out Jonas Valanciunas. I'm going to torture Willie Hernan Gomez for the remainder of the basketball game. Jokic ends up scoring. He scored 30 points in the fourth quarter in overtime. He didn't really miss. He was 10 for 11 from the field. He missed 9 for 9 from the foul line. It was absurd. He finishes with a 46-point triple-double. Also, I believe 4 blocks and 3 steals. An outrageous game. Also, one of those like narrative shifting games because it was on Sunday night. There weren't a lot of other games going on at the same time.
And the narrative shifted in real time because I had
every
I'm known as a Jokic
writer is watching it.
And I had friends texting me, giving me a hard time about losing to the quote unquote Pelican Lords. And he just undid it. It was like the end of that Superman 1 or 2 where he just spins the earth backwards on its axis and made all right with the world and turned his team into a winner.
The original Donner Superman. My son asked some great questions. Why isn't the Superman theme in the new Superman shows? I was like, it's a great question, son. It's really hard to explain.
The new Batman theme is the Darth Vader theme.
Is it really?
It's insane.
This is a very annoying film critique moment. I am going to do an impression of the soundtrack for most superhero movies. This is the theme to every superhero movie. Blah, blah. Like that's the soundtrack. Like, also, if you watch the movie Dune, I watched it once on with the
How many sittings did it take to finish that class?
I really enjoyed Dune. I thought I really enjoyed it. But the soundtrack, it's too much. And the subtitles, like the HBO Max subtitles,
droning,
it was
throat
like,
singing.
It was like it said something like anguished wailing. Every time
a refrigerator across
every time I'm in a movie and I see a desert, I don't need wailing. Okay. I understand.
Oh yeah, Dune. It's like I see him away.
Well, it's like guys, this is not the Middle East. This is a planet somewhere. Maybe they developed their own scale, their own modal system of singing. But it's like every time, like Hans Zimmer. Hey, buddy, they're saying in this.
Did you know Hans Zimmer did not even write the famous Brahm thing?
Oh yeah, that was from the trailer.
Right? Well, it was one of his underlings. Like there's
the Inception trailer, it became famous for just going blah, and that's like all movie sounds.
He's taking credit for it, but the guy who wrote it, I think his name is like Zarin or something.
I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure how all my guttural screaming into the microphone is going to read. When it's
going to read.
I do wonder if that particular frequency, like there've been studies to find out it like activates your root chakra or something.
A brown note.
Yeah.
Also, the Superman motif from the newest, the Hans Zimmer and those recent Batman vs Superman movies, it turns out it's lifted from the Manchurian Candidate remake. It's in there note for note. I was like, wait a minute. And then the Superman, that's like the weird da na na, something like that. And then there's like the really like there's like the beautiful piano, simplistic piano thing, which as it turns out is actually a note for note accidental lifting of Danny Elfman's score from it's a Middle Eastern war movie with Jamie Foxx.
Kingdom.
It's from Kingdom. The Kingdom. It's like the same thing. I happen to hear.
I'm ashamed that I knew
does
that.
my Spotify just throw me algorithm of soundtrack things that I play? Yes, it does. Anyway, where are we at? Oh, my best thing. Nikola Jokic was incredible. Possibly jumping on the lead for the MVP. I don't know. Regardless of whoever wins the MVP, if it's Embiid,
do you think Harden joining Embiid will help or hurt his MVP case?
I think if they keep winning, it's going to help. I think for Embiid, all he has to do is finish. If they keep winning,
or does Tyrese Maxey enter the MVP?
Yeah. When is Tyrese Maxey the MVP? Because that guy is incredible, and the Sixers keep winning. Anyway, Chuck, what's your best thing?
Well, the Sixers didn't win against the Miami Heat on Saturday night.
Harden didn't play.
No Harden.
Harden
was scared, man. He was scared of Gabe Vincent.
Yes, he was. He was afraid to get hemmed up by Caleb Martin. Miami Heat last week. My part fadeaway was watching the Heat. What are we doing? How's it look? They went 3-1. Would have been 4-0 if it wasn't for a catastrophic debacle in the fourth quarter against the Bucks on the road.
Where they that was a real-time tragedy.
Well, so you guys
misery.
Your part fadeaway was the week for the Heat because it was a tough week. It was playing.
It was a tough week.
Teams in the East, right? So
they
you
wiped
guys
the floor with Chicago.
Yeah, you beat up on the Bulls, who have never beaten a good team this year, unfortunately.
Yes. They lost by 1 on the road without Kyle Lowry. They should have won that game. They were up 4. They were up 4 with 4 seconds to play. It was tomfoolery. But they sat everybody. Jimmy, Kyle, and PJ Tucker didn't play against Brooklyn, and they beat Durant in his return. And then, without Harden, they still wiped the floor defensively.
You had MVP candidate Tyrese Maxey going off.
I think the Sixers scored 80 points.
Yeah, it was for me. And looking ahead at the schedule, they got a 3-game lead, which with 17 to play is going to be real difficult. They're either going to have to poop the bed tremendously to lose home court, and everybody else is going to have to play out of their minds if Miami's going to lose in that first seed. So I don't know. I may have just jinxed them. So I'm going to shut up now. But yeah,
even more impressively, the Heat have now gotten within a half game of the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yes.
Despite the Grizzlies choosing to lose to the Houston Rockets. They're like, let's make this more interesting. Let's let the Heat get right up close to us.
Was that a John Calipari loss? It's like, we need to lose. We need to lose a game in the SEC tournament to give ourselves full activation. Didn't feel that way.
I don't know.
Feel that way.
Grizzlies fan me is extremely nervous.
Yeah.
That this is the third. I don't know if I'm reading too much into this. This is the third straight year after the All-Star break. The team looks much worse. Does that happen to every team? It doesn't happen to Chuck's team. The Miami Heat are playing really, really well. This is the third straight year that they've gone into the All-Star break strong and then come out with like a bunch of, this is not the same team. So I don't know if I'm reading too much into it.
I feel like last night was the weirdest Taylor Jenkins game of the year.
What did you think of the not playing Jaren Jackson Jr. and the thing that everyone is upset about? Jaren Jackson Jr. picked up his 5th foul and a goofy foul because he fouls goofy again. He's in a bad run of the foul trouble we thought was behind him. It's like a bedwetter. We thought this was behind you. Now it's happened again. But Taylor Jenkins didn't even put him back in. He's like, he had 5. That's good enough. You're out.
Yeah. Maybe he just thought he fouled out. That's what I'm choosing to believe. He's like, I didn't like, I thought it was weird. I thought Kyle Anderson minutes were insane in that game also. I didn't understand. It felt like he was making a larger point to me. Maybe he
was. I mean, our guy Kyle had a brutal game as well. Yeah.
At that cost victory.
Yeah. Those were our best things. The opposite of our steak and eggs best thing is the cream of wheat worst thing. What's the worst thing you saw last week? Chuck, what's your worst thing?
Well, LeBron is a cyborg. How are you going to score 56 when you're 56 years old? That's what I'm wondering.
That's got to be a record.
There's got to be a record. Yeah. I guess what is the worst part about it is I'm at this point now where I'm like feeling sad for LeBron. Like I'm really sad for him. But it's
why?
Like
because
the way
he's chasing a scoring title instead of trying to win games.
It's like when you wish ill on your ex and then you feel bad about it.
That could go into my other worst of the week is Kyrie Irving comparing the Boston fans to scorned ex-girlfriend, acting salty when he's getting booed. Hey, Kyrie, you kind of deserve it. So
yeah, not a real confusing one. Even his analogy is like, it's like breaking up with a girlfriend and her getting mad that you don't text her. It's like, wait a minute, did you just leave? Did you tell the girlfriend you were leaving? Did you text to break it up? Like, if you just did you ghost this person?
Did your breakup with your girlfriend come with a Woj bomb?
Right.
Because that would be.
They're actively, they're booing you. That's fair.
Everyone should boo him.
Everyone should break up with their girlfriend through Shams Charania. That's what.
Also,
the
Lakers were real upset. Their fans were booing them. Like,
yeah, no, you guys.
I think it's weird sometimes when fans boo their teams. Like I do. I always frequently mention the time I went to a Grizzlies game and they were booing a rookie Nick Kalathis, and I'm like, why are we booing this? This guy's on our team. Like he didn't do anything wrong.
They're booing his hair.
They're booing his hairline. But like the Lakers, a team who massively underperforming, and they were getting blown out. That's the time that a sports fan, I think, is allowed to boo. Like, you're not insulting anyone. You're not heckling. Like, heckling is not cool. Like, buying a ticket doesn't give you the right to heckle, but just a little
heckling isn't cool.
No, but like,
don't tell John that.
Yeah, John, you get ejected, and that's right. They're John, right to eject you. You're not allowed to yell at people.
John brings a
booing
notebook
is
and
nothing. Booing is just a generalized. I am unhappy.
I've been shadow banned from minor league stadiums.
Yeah.
No, but I think the reason why LA fans are booing. I mean, if you're a basketball fan in LA, you're watching the Lakers, who have on paper incredible talent, and then you're also getting to watch the Clippers, or at least aware of the Clippers, who have every excuse to be really bad and are playing a really good basketball, and
outside of the Knicks game,
yeah, well, that one. But like Reggie Jackson is looking like
it's
insane.
No mystery why they are booing. They are booing because the team is poor. Just period. The team is poor. Russell Westbrook is playing awful.
Jeannie Buss is leaving games early.
Yeah. John, what's your worst thing?
Have you guys played Purtle yet?
Yes.
Yeah. I played once. I
now have an alarm that goes off at midnight so that I can play Purtle. That's not good for me. It's not good for my personality. I'm worried that this will lead to Wordle. I was living a blissful experience where I didn't know what Wordle was. I was muting it on Twitter, and this is like a gateway drug for me. I love Purtle. Yeah. I can't believe I only get to play Purtle once a day. If I don't get Purtle within 5, my day is ruined. I need a time machine. I need to turn the earth backwards yet again. I need Dwight Howard to fly me backwards through time and undo my discovery of Purtle.
So if anyone doesn't know, Purtle, named after Jakob Purtle, is the basketball equivalent of the red hot online time suck of Wordle. I do enjoy a Wordle, but it's like you just guess an NBA player, and then instead of the letters, it actually has like position, height, age, team, division,
conference.
I gotta tell you, the age thing kills me.
Like, my problem is division.
Oh, well, the division. So
I don't remember.
I know my division is pretty good. I don't know people's ages. It's like 28-year-old. Like, who's 28? I don't know.
It's like there's a Northwest division. No idea. That was news.
You guys really don't know your divisions?
No, I don't know them very well. I don't know them very well. I constantly will guess a team that was. I'll think I have it, and then I'll guess a team and be like, oh, they're also in the Central, and then that's when the rage begins.
This is actually really shocking to me that you guys don't know the division.
It's insane how well I know player heights. Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
Do the divisions matter ever? Is it like tiebreaker stuff for the playoffs?
I think divisional winner
there's a reason
why
I don't
one
care.
Tiebreaker down there.
Is it?
It used to be way bigger.
It used to be if you won your division, you got like
you're like one of the top 3 seeds, and it was ridiculous.
Anyway, so we got rid of it.
I'm actually shocked you guys don't know, but it's fine. Actually, it's inspired by Wordle and Purtle. I actually have a game for you guys. What's that song? Dinklage, Peter Dinklage, Peter Dinklage. All right, so this is not really like Wordle. In my mind, you can imagine there's like yellow and green spots, but this is a game that's kind of hard. But to make it a little more fun, if you get any part of it right, a la a Wordle or a Purtle, I'll let you go again. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to name, you guys are going to guess the 5 best 3-man lineup combinations in the NBA this season.
Oof.
If you get a team correct, we're not going to do normal strikeouts. If you get the team correct, you get to keep guessing. So it doesn't matter if you get none of the players right. As long as you get the team right, you can guess again. If you get one of the players right involved in this 3-man lineup combination, you will have 3 more guesses to try to get it wrong before your opponent can then try to maybe weasel in and take your goods. And we'll see who can get the most. So these are the 5 best 3-man lineup combinations so far this season with a minimum of 100 minutes played. All of these 5 lineups are from teams that have good records. I'm talking the best 10 records in the NBA. So I've already narrowed it down for you. Anyway, John, why don't you go first? You're trying to find a 3-man lineup combination. I don't know if you want to start off, if your strategy is to try to name some teams. I don't know.
Oh, so I'm not supposed to guess the.
No, you can guess the specific players. I'm not gonna. Yeah, might as well. Go
I guess I'll assume that this began with some Grizz research you did, so I'll start with the Grizz.
Well, that's well played. So who's your 3-man lineup?
I guess I'll go Melton, Jackson, Clark.
You nailed it. That's the. That is absolutely correct. I feel like that was
I'm dead after this, though.
I mean, I assume. I have been using a lot of social media talking about that one, but that one is D'Anthony Melton, Brandon Clark, Jaren Jackson Jr., the best 3-man lineup combination in the NBA this season, plus 39.5.
I was a little worried they wouldn't have enough minutes, which is more Taylor Jenkins slander.
Chuck, John kind of stole that from you. This feels unfair already, but please try to fight back.
What about Giannis, Middleton, Holiday?
Oh,
seems good.
So you have a correct team, so you get to go again. You have 2 correct players. 2 correct players among that. So
what
now
are their
I'm going to give you
heights?
lots of options to try to find who. I'm going to go and tell you. I'm going to give you a green square on Antetokounmpo and Holiday.
Okay.
And now you have 3 guesses.
Look into my wild and crazy eyes, Chuck,
to try to find who's the 3rd player with Antetokounmpo and Holiday. And you know it's not Middleton.
OG Bobby Portis.
No, that's incorrect.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chuck. I'm sorry.
What about, see, I listened to Bird. He's trying to make me lose. What about, this will just be, I'm saying this because it would be the funniest. What if it's Grayson Allen?
It's not Grayson Allen.
Okay, so you have now activated. You actually are now working on 2 game boards because 2 of them are Milwaukee Bucks lineups. So you know, if you can visualize this, you have 2 game boards and you have 2 correct answers on both of them. Okay. All right, so you have 2 correct versions. I just need to get the exact right one. So,
you can get 2 points.
So Drew Holiday is the correct answer. Grayson Allen is the correct answer. Giannis Antetokounmpo is the correct answer, but you haven't gotten the 3-man combinations of those, but I believe you've earned several guesses now. I'm going to say you have 5 more guesses to try to get the 3-man combinations. Let's see how close you can get.
The level of complexity of our games, it's astounding.
It is astounding.
Astounding may not be the right word.
So let's do Giannis, Grayson, Middleton.
All right, so Middleton is out on all of them. Middleton is out on all of them.
All right.
The anglerfish.
That's interesting.
And I'm going to tell you this. This is the way your board is looking. Your Pirtle board is looking. You have Drew Holiday and Antetokounmpo is correct. You're missing a 3rd there.
What division is
and then
the
Drew Holiday and Grayson Allen is correct. You're missing a 3rd there.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a lineup without Giannis.
That's correct. Yes.
Wow.
Ducks are good.
I mean, the secret is almost assuredly Giannis was on the court while these other 3 guys were playing.
Yes, they were also there.
That's how 3-man lineups work a lot of the time. Anyway, so you're missing a name.
Give me, I guess, Bobby Portis on the
No, you already guessed. So Middleton's
So
out
there's
totally.
he's
Bobby
out,
Portis is out totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Dante DiVincenzo.
Nope, out totally. Also banished to Sacramento land.
Oh, he's in Sacramento.
I mean, he played it. It's a fine guess, but no.
Pat, that's I've mixed up my my white guys.
Jonathan's wrong too. All right, I'm gonna give you two more guesses. You got two more guesses before John gets to bury you.
Jordan Wara.
No, it's a fine guess, but it's wrong.
I'm out. I got nothing. I guess I could look up their hold on. Their roster. Let me find names.
When do I get to steal this from Chuck?
I'm gonna give Chuck one more shot. It wasn't Middleton, Portis, Connaughton, DiVincenzo, or Jordan Wara.
What about Javon Carter?
He just joined the team.
Joined the team.
I know, but it was the funniest answer. Give me Wes Matthews.
That's my guess.
Incorrect.
All
That's
right.
the whole team. George Hill?
You named a lot. John, you want to move in and try to steal?
Brolo's been hurt. I'll still say
right.
Brooke Lopez.
No. I think we play like 5 games.
Wow. Feeling
so I guess so. Actually, John, you that was your guess. We're now back to Chuck.
We're out.
Now back to Chuck.
George Hill?
Yes.
Oh, I thought he already said George Hill.
George Hill is correct on both of them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the second best 3-man lineup is Drew Holiday, George Hill, Grayson Allen. The third best in the NBA, Drew Holiday, George Hill, and Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I'm glad Chuck got that. That would
Chuck is now winning 2-1. We have two 3-man combinations left.
I feel like you did say George Hill though.
He did, but it was an extra guess, and the judges did not allow it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So back to me. I'll say Jokic, Morris, Barton.
That is incorrect.
Ugh.
There are no Nuggets on this top 5.
Yikes.
So the Nuggets as a team are out. Chuck, back to you.
What about? I mean, what's the minutes played?
100.
100. What about Luka, Jalen Brunson, and
it's a very good guess because the Mavericks have one very, very high, but the Mavericks are not in the top 5. We're looking for 2. There are 2 separate teams with very, very good records.
All right, let's do
combinations. They're the 4th and
let's
5th.
do
it's now back to John.
Oh yeah,
now back to John.
I'll do Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Michael Bridges.
I'm going to shut you down there. That is not the Suns. The Suns are not the team we're looking for. 2 remaining 3-man lineup combinations that are in the top 5 of the NBA.
What about the Miami Heat?
I'm sorry, Chuck. Your Heat are not there. I think we've eliminated all the top 10 teams except for the 2 that remain.
Wow.
The Jazz. I'll go.
Actually, it's not the Jazz. I spoke too soon. Back to you, Chuck.
What about the Bulls?
Yes. The Bulls. Now we get you a couple guesses here.
DeMar DeRozan.
Yes. Now you now earned 3 guesses more. It is DeMar DeRozan.
Give me Zach LaVine.
No, not Zach LaVine.
Give me
my narrative.
Lonzo Ball.
Nope, not Lonzo Ball.
Give me Ayo Dosunmu.
That's a great guess, but no.
I just wanted to say his name on the.
I'm going to allow you one more guess to try to keep going.
Give me Vooch.
Yeah.
No.
What?
All those are wrong. All right, to you, John.
Wow.
I feel like he said.
Now we go back and forth.
He didn't say Caruso.
Caruso is correct, John. You've just earned yourself 3 more guesses to get the final piece of this triumvirate.
Javonte Green.
That's strike 1. No.
He did say Lonzo, right?
Yes, he's Lonzo Ball's out.
Kobe White.
Kobe White is wrong. You have 1 more guess.
Derek Jones Jr.
That is incorrect.
I don't know any other Bulls.
You guys might need to pull up a Chicago Bulls roster for this one. Back to you, Chuck. We're going back and forth. Find the final piece of the Bulls triumvirate.
So it's DeMar Caruso.
Yes.
And then
I don't know.
Pat Williams.
No, it's not Pat Williams.
Troy Brown.
No, back to you, Chuck.
God, I don't.
I
got nothing, man. I'm stand by. Let me.
Yeah, pull up the roster.
Yeah,
here's a hint. The hint's gonna give it away. I can't.
What's the hint? Wait.
The hint is this shirt is at the top of our TeePublic store for sale, featuring this player.
Oh, that's give me Tristan Thompson.
No. This player is, I believe, as tall as Tristan Thompson.
What about what?
John's turn. It's John's turn now. I love how the shirt hint didn't help John at all.
No, I really didn't. I'm still trying to think of Bulls of Tony Bradley.
Yes, it's Tony Bradley.
What?
We have the shirt of Steven Adams carrying away Tony Bradley.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's now 2-2. There is one 3-man lineup left. Chuck, can you name the team? Can you name a player involved?
Did we do?
And you said they were a top 10 team?
Yeah.
And we want like
the Suns are out, the Grizzlies are out, the Jazz are out, the Mavericks are out.
What about the Warriors?
Yes.
There you go.
Warriors team. All right, you have one guess to try to get one of the correct players. If you get one of the correct players, you get 3 more guesses to try to fill out that 3-man lineup.
Steph Curry.
That is correct. Keep going, Chuck.
Draymond Green.
That is correct. Oh, you've earned 3 more guesses. Now you have 5 guesses to get your final piece, and it's going to be a doozy.
He's gone full monster truck guy.
Jordan Poole.
No. 4 guesses remaining.
Whoa. K-pop.
Juan Toscano Anderson.
No. 3 guesses remaining.
Andrew Wiggins.
No. 2 guesses remaining.
Oh, this is great.
Gary Payton II.
Yes, that's
it. Yes.
It had to be the hipster Gary Payton too, right?
Chuck with the victory. Oh man. I'm gonna have to edit that game to make it more entertaining for our listeners, but I had a great time. I had an incredible amount of fun.
I think it was too
that.
bad.
Yeah, that was that was well played, guys. I'll do my worst thing. My worst thing. This goes back to me going to bed too early. I've become an old man. I've started missing things. I've started tuning into HBO Max a little bit earlier than I have previous walks in my life. It used to be, I'll watch Netflix after the late game, after the Lakers play. Now it's like, I'm sleepy. I'm going to watch my Netflix right now. I'm going to miss how the Lakers blow this one. But one of my favorite players had a career game and I missed it. And not even that, he had a game winner. I'm talking about Cam Johnson, the son I like.
That was the Cam game.
The
Double Cam.
SON son I like. I mean, honestly, I like Mikal Bridges. I like a lot of the Suns players. Let's be real. But a cursed, hated franchise, wretched franchise. Cam Johnson made 9 3-pointers, banked in the game winner, and I was just snug in my bed. Didn't even find out about it till the next day. This is the guy I've hailed as the next Chris Middleton. By the way, if we're playing the hits, Chris Middleton with a season high 44
also a game winner
on Sunday. He had a couple of daggers, sure. But Cam Johnson banks in the game winner in a game that he left early because Julius Randle collapsed his chest cavity. He threw his shoulder into Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson was hurt, the wind knocked out of him, left the game, went back in the locker room, they checked him out. He then came back apparently enraged and had the greatest game of his career. This is a player who in fake trades I offered 3 first-round picks for this year. I want him so bad on the Grizzlies, and hopefully, fingers crossed, he keeps playing this incredibly, and there's no chance Robert Sarver will pay his extension. That's all we can hope for. But Cam Johnson is amazing. I felt bad for missing that one. Anyway, those were our worst things. Before we get to the awards segment of the program, how about a couple, or maybe one, listener submitted question? The croissant questioner.
Jamal Crawford asks. Well, he asks in a form of tweeting. I talked to my brother Baron Davis today on the phone and had to tell him he's one of the coldest that ever did it. Got me thinking. No accolades, no awards, straight talent. Name some of the most talented, naturally talented hoopers you ever seen.
Is Jamal Crawford one of our Patreon supporters now?
Owen sent us that tweet.
That's okay. Owen submitted it on behalf of his friend Jamal Crawford. I will accept it. And that way, I don't understand the question. Usually, the entire who's a hooper, who's like natural talent.
I mean, Baron Davis kind of says it all to me. I feel like that's a pretty good example. The first guy I always think of, I think of Kyrie Irving, even though he has a title. I don't think it was like his title he won, but he's just this preternatural talent on the court. And there's just the reason he's so well respected by the players is there just aren't other players who can do what he can do. So I think of him a lot.
I guess I'm trying to think of it now as like, who's the player who is the best at getting a bucket, who is actually not like great in the NBA or something? Like, is that kind of the idea? I mean, like, because like everyone praises.
It's funny because Jamal Crawford is kind of on his own list here. Maybe he was fishing for himself.
I believe Jamal Crawford is the only player older than LeBron. Is that correct?
Yeah,
who had a 50-point game.
Yeah.
I'm going
fun players. You know, guys that just like when you watched him play, you're like, all right, this guy is like a baller. And Jason Williams, to me, when I watched him just do things with the basketball, that made my heart flutter.
Certainly one of the flashiest, funnest players ever.
Rafer Alston always made me feel like watching him play. I know I was a child of the
was he hot sauce or Skip to My Lou?
He was Skip to My Lou. So I was a child. I used to sell and one mixtapes out of the back of my foot action that I worked at in high school. So like watching him in the NBA was just mind blowing.
Did you have to wear like a Foot Locker-esque shirt for foot action?
We didn't have jerseys. We just wore green T-shirts with the word foot action on them. And then, I got 40% off sneakers, which started my obsession at a young age. But yeah, who else? Who could always ball like, and obviously I'm naming players who have all played for the Heat. Jamal Mashburn probably is not going to get remembered as a baller, but I think he had
some huge seasons. Yeah, I think of smaller guys, like the current Isaiah Thomas, who's found his way back in the league, where it's like it's just remarkable to think he had that near like top 5 MVP season.
Derek Coleman springs to mind.
Yeah. And then there's like those guys that like had crazy, like, didn't Ramon Sessions have
he had a 50-point game, I think, didn't he?
Right.
Like, honestly, I'm contractually obligated to mention Tony Delk if we're doing this, but
no, but I don't think of like Tony Delk is not one of those guys who like Baron Davis and Jamal Crawford are like, oh man, the bag he had. Like, he pulled up and hit 18-footers. Like, that was basically
it. He did.
I think of like, if you think about just the most naturally gifted player of all time, I mean, it's a Hall of Famer, but for me, it's like Tracy McGrady.
Yeah.
Like where Tracy McGrady was the best, maybe the top 3 player of the NBA for a couple of years there. And there was discussions, some talk about how like he didn't warm up some games. He would just show up and just like kind of, I mean, not literally roll out of bed, but not go through warm-ups and then come out and he could score 40 or whatever. And that guy was just fantastic. But I do know it's not Mark Madsen. I understand the question well enough to understand. The answer is not
Tom Gugliotta,
a big stiff. Hey, Gugliotta had a bag. Do not mention Gugliotta in the same breath as a Mark Madsen. Gugliotta could score, man. It wasn't Mark Blunt.
Right, Rex Chapman.
Anyway, we got one more question from the listeners.
Monte World Peace asks, why are the Lakers so funny?
I mean, it goes.
Are we crediting Adam McKay?
So comedy used to be like tragedy
plus time,
but I don't think that's like true anymore. The way we consume media and culture, maybe it's tragedy times time. I think it's funnier that the Lakers are so bad this quickly after winning it all, maybe. Perhaps that's why it's so hilarious.
I think there is a level of like, I don't know, when the world balances itself out in a way that brings equilibrium to the system. I think it can be funny, when the mighty fall, when hubris leads to failure, and we, for those who know what's been going on with like Clutch Sports and LeBron, AD, and the back channel stuff, and basically LeBron being the effective, GM.
It also may be funny because we have seen this before.
Yeah,
with this player.
Yeah,
multiple times.
I mean,
there's a rhythm. There's a
and look, as a Heat fan, he left Miami because he wanted more control, and that was it worked out for a single year.
Yeah, maybe this is funny because all the tropes are being hit.
I think it's funny because it just shows that this is maybe what happens when you like so many corners get cut, when like they don't have a normal scout, or they don't have like the normal analytics department. Their front office makes decisions that are quizzical at best. Like the waiving DeAndre Jordan instead of just paying cash to move his salary cost the Buss family a lot of money. It literally just cost them money. Where like if they would have traded this before the deadline, they could have gotten a trade exception. They could have paid someone less money than they're going to end up spending on waiving him just to get rid of the salary. And these are just like basic steps you don't do. And I don't know who's at fault. Some part of it is like the nepotism thing. You don't know, like, all right, is Jeannie Buss qualified? It seems like she probably is. She's like this strong woman in this, been given this huge role, but then like how much she has to give or concede to Clutch or to LeBron James to bring it in. And then they won the title, so it worked for them. But all of that, I guess, kind of for me, rolls together. Then when they lose badly, or then they're having an underperforming year, or they're like, "Oh, we need to trade Russell Westbrook. We don't know how to do that." We're all like, "Well, yeah, but what were you thinking? Like who made these calls? This is just yeah. It's all kind of funny, and of course, it's born out of this decades of success before and being a massive team. Like if the Hornets were doing this, I think we would care less. It would be
for sure
a little bit less exciting.
No other franchise would have a mini series on HBO about any part of their history.
I wish they would, though. I just want an ABA mini series, man.
Give me a Charlotte Hornets.
I want Loose Balls the movie so
Kevin
bad.
Hart as Muggsy Bogues.
Why can't they do that? Although Lakers, I mean, hey, great win over the Warriors. Just keep winning just a little bit. Just try to catch the Wizards. Try to keep the Kings. By the way, the Kings. Oh my God, John, your Kings, your Sacramento Kings.
I've watched them all.
Still like 2 games behind the Blazers, and the Blazers are openly taking.
Watched them all trying to will what I want into existence.
By the way, shout out fantasy basketball players. If any of you picked up Isaiah Roby, I know I did.
Not anymore. They're gonna. He's too good. They're gonna.
Isaiah Roby, 2 games, averaged 23.5 points, 8.5 rebounds. And I'm in a league where we've moved our waiver wires back so far in the day, as late as possible because of all these scratches you have. He wasn't on an injury report 15 minutes before the game. The Thunder are like, he's out with soreness. He played great last 2 games. We're not about that. He's out. So, the tank season is here. Anyways, thanks for the question, Monte World Peace, and also Owen submitting your buddy Jamal Crawford's missive. If you guys want to ask us a question to be answered on air or as part of our bonus video that we post over at patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast, you have to become a Patreon supporter. Do that. Go to patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. You can play fantasy basketball with us. By the way, congratulations to those people who made it to the International Stackhouse of Pancakes playoffs. That is very, very difficult to do. There's like 28 teams, I think, this year. Only 6 teams made it. I mean, of course I did, but congrats to. All right, so I guess there's no way to find out who owns these teams.
Probably not Fantrax. He got finished 7th. Devastating.
That's brutal. Hang on 1 second.
Hard on, shard on. Do you have to go to Kentucky today?
I do. Yeah.
Padonka.
I'm going to Hopkinsville.
Remember Bernard Hopkins?
I do. Great
Prison
fighter.
Young.
This is way too hard to figure out. I'm just going to say the team names.
Yeah, there you go.
That's probably funny.
Congratulations to the Memphis Showboats, Bowl, the Breakfast Burrito Boys, the Tasuka Pawnees, and of course, unnamed Team 17.
Zucca the greatest team to have ever done it.
I wonder if they might have peaked in the regular season, but we'll see. The negative fantasy league playoffs are a grueling grind that go until basically the last day of the season. So it's a pure ridiculousness. Congrats to everyone who played over there. But if you want to get involved with stuff like that, you want to play in the Stone Cold Locks Challenge, which will occur again when the playoffs kick off. You got to be a Patreon supporter. Support us at patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. All right, it's time for the awards segment of the program, the International Stackhouse of the Pancakes, the International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award.
National Stackhouse of the Pancakes.
Week to the worst performance in a box score. Had a lot of stuff going on this week. A lot of terrible performances. Honorable mention, Bojan Bogdanovic, 1 for 11. By the way, shout out him for making up for it by hitting 11 3-pointers on Sunday. That's how you atone for an iShop-worthy performance. Also, Trey Mann, Cole Anthony, Reggie Jackson, Jalen Green. Trae Young was 6 for 22. LaMelo Ball did a full Kobe, 6 for 24. Didn't even get nominated. Those are your honorable mentions. We actually have a play-in scenario, guys. We have a play-in to be one of the 3 nominees. Jimmy Butler and Pascal Siakam. This is a play-in to see who's going to be the 3rd nominee this week. Jimmy Butler was 2 for 14, had 6 points,
Poop.
3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, 1 turnover, 1 personal foul.
2 free throws.
Or Pascal Siakam in his win against the Nets was 2 for 14, 8 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 blocks, 1 turnover, 3 personal fouls. So the 2 for 14, I think Jimmy Butler has to be let in. So we have Jimmy Butler, 2 for 14, 6 points,
worse.
3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks.
They lost by 1.
Yeah, just don't be terrible, and maybe your team
slightly less terrible
has a chance. All right. He's going up against RJ Barrett, who was a stunning 6 for 26 in the loss to the Suns. 6 for 26, and this is the Cam Johnson game. 6 for 26. He did have 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 turnovers, and 2 personal fouls. It's either him, RJ Barrett, Jimmy Butler, or one Gary Trent Jr., who in a loss to the Detroit Pistons was 4 for 23.
Oh.
14 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 turnover, 3 personal fouls.
Trent Jr.
So we have Jimmy Butler, 2 for 14, 6 points, 2 blocks. RJ Barrett, 6 for 26, 20 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. Gary Trent Jr., 4 for 23, 14 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds. John, you said Gary Trent Jr.
Yes.
I think it has to be Gary Trent Jr.
That's insane.
That is such a bad line. Congratulations, Gary Trent Jr., on winning this week's International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award. It's now time for the Lethal Lottery, America's least favorite game show, where John, Chuck, and myself try to pick the worst performer from the nationally televised TNT games. Chuck has locked up winning for the year. However,
it's
John
not
and
about
I,
winning, folks.
Yeah, as you know, it's not about winning. It's about losing. It's about not finishing in last place. John and I are battling it out. We both have 9 Lethal Lottery points. We're trying to pick the player who has the worst performance on the Thursday night TNT games using our negative fantasy scoring system. Of course, if you use our negative fantasy scoring system, you want the most points, the best game in the negative league. I hope that's confusing. That was the point. Chuck, you actually lost last week, but it won't really matter for the season-long standings, but you do get to draw first from the Jack-o'-lantern, of which there are 3 ping pong balls. 2 of them are the silver balls. 1 of them is the stern ball. If you get the stern ball, you can swap your player with a player of your opponent in the name of, what is that, fair play? For basketball reasons, you can do these things with the power of stern. All right, John, draw that ball, the physical ball for Chuck. He's received a silver ball.
What's
we
the
are
game?
Picking between.
You get to choose between it's either Nets at Sixers or
That's a good
Warriors
one.
at Nuggets.
And by the way, Nets at Sixers, Ben Simmons will be there, but won't be playing. He's going to go to Wells Fargo Center just to be booed and heckled.
Amazing.
Nice.
In this situation, I guess you can heckle the guy. I don't know. He will be booed, but he's not going to play. I don't know what he's waiting for. Seems like just pull the Band-Aid off. Just start playing. Like, you got to pull the Band-Aid off. You got to do something. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm sorry. Anyway, so Chuck, which game? You going to pick the game we're going to do?
Yeah, we'll do the Nets game.
All right, Nets, Sixers. Okay.
I will pick Goran Dragic.
Wow, that's a good one. Okay. Goran Dragic. I finished next. I get a draw now. John's reaching again to the Jock Lair to give me that start. Oh, I got the silver ball.
That's not good.
It's not good because John's just going to pick someone because John is in the position of power now. But if it backfires on him, it could be curtains because he'll get a double loss if he swaps with a stern ball. I am going to pick someone who has the potential for good. This is brutal. I'm going to go. I'm worried if I take someone like that, you could just swoop in and take the worst player. There is a worst player available. I am going to go with Tobias Harris.
Ooh.
I'm going to take Tobias Harris.
I'll take KD, swap with Keith.
That's not much I can do there. We're hoping on that KD. Have a bad game night. But I am hoping, Tobias Harris, one efficient game. He has a good field goal percentage. If he pulls out a 10 for 14 game, that might be enough. But
I think we've got an interesting crew here. Goran looked pretty good the other night. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, maybe Goran will have a big game.
We are not playing the game correctly.
My other pick was just to go with Matisse Thybulle, who is like a negative fantasy god for his playing 24 minutes every night and not accruing a single rebound. That's how we do it, baby.
Yeah.
Anyway, par fadeaway, gentlemen. What things are we looking forward to in the coming week? A lot of stuff going on.
I'm hoping winning time improves. I've caught the first episode. First episodes can be tough. Pilots can be rough. It was a bumpy ride, but maybe as we get going and as they get all of the audience get acclimation done, and maybe as Adam McKay, the director, moves from the forefront to the background, get the Jody Hill episodes in there, I'll enjoy it more. But I'm hoping winning time is more fun than the first episode was.
The season finale of Pam and Tommy is this week.
My show was about basketball.
It's about basketball.
My
Chuck,
show was about basketball.
if you want to cover Pam and Tommy, do it on Patreon, baby. You got a whole Patreon. Just do it there.
If you haven't, spoiler alert, Pam and Tommy features a speaking role for Tommy Lee's penis. And if you need nothing else, a reason to watch this show, it is for that and that alone. Voiced by Jason Mantzoukas. Incredible moment in the show. We'll see how this.
Chuck, could you at least watch that? Has that Juancho Hernan Gomez movie come out yet?
No,
Oh, it's not out yet. All right.
we'll be sure that Chuck. I'm gonna make Chuck watch it in a giant Adam Sandler t-shirt and shorts.
But yeah, I will be watching Winning Time, an incredible line which I may have tattooed on my body, which is there are two things in this world that make me believe in basketball, in God, sex, and basketball. So that was a great line.
That was the opening line. I made it that far before falling asleep.
That was a great opening line. I'm interested in to how you make Kareem look like a jerk for 10 episodes. Because they did a great job of making him look terrible in that first episode. We'll see.
No one looks great thus far.
Everyone except
for
Magic.
Strangely Jerry Buss.
Right.
Jerry Buss is gonna be Santa,
Yes.
I guess.
Yeah,
Drunk,
Jerry
horny
Buss
Santa.
is. Yeah, for some reason Jerry Buss is like a playboy, and I never knew that about him. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. That's a cool show.
I think
you never knew that about Jerry Buss?
No, I didn't know he was.
I never brought up that
you
Jerry
guys don't
Buss
even know the divisions.
Got a DUI at 75 and had a 23-year-old girl in the car with him. You didn't know that about Jerry Buss?
I think the thing I'm looking forward to is the stratification of these conferences. We're finally seeing some separation. There's a race in the Western Conference, honestly, 2 through 6. I don't think the Warriors and Grizzlies are that catchable, but like the Jazz are playing great, only 2.5 back. The Mavericks, the Nuggets, all these teams are winning. It feels like they're, except of course for the Warriors who are not winning. And then you have like back below the play-in, I'm endlessly amused by the Spurs and Trailblazers tanking and yet maintaining their lead over the Sacramento Kings. That part of it kills me. That part of it is way more hilarious than the Lakers franchise.
The only team the Kings can beat are the elite tanking Spurs.
Yeah.
And the Thunder. That's the only team the Kings have beaten. Like
the Blazers have shut everybody down. They're not even letting Justice Winslow play because Justice Winslow is too good. They're going to
assassinate Greg Brown.
The Spurs have lost 4 straight, and they have like the Trailblazers are 2.5 up on the Kings, and that kills me. I love it.
De'Aaron Fox is going to average 40 points a game, and they're going to lose all of them.
Hey, by the way, De'Aaron Fox has the 3rd longest active streak of players scoring at least 20 points in a game. 1, LeBron James. 2, John Morant. 3, De'Aaron Fox.
Kings
fans.
Ja did that, right?
Yeah, Ja's at 20 straight games. I believe LeBron's at like 26 or 28. LeBron, how far can he carry him to the finish line? Also, par fadeaway, LeBron is going for that scoring title.
Yeah.
Like that is the reason he wakes up in the morning. Listen, we all have to have our motivations. That's
I
the
get
Bronze. No, it is. It's legacy stuff.
Hashtag just a kid from Akron.
I love the era where they would look up the scoring record in buildings and try to break it. I totally get it. Why not?
Yeah.
He could be, you could be nursing a Yusuf Nurkic torn plantar fascia suddenly, just resting.
Yeah, he could find himself with a Oklahoma City soreness breaking out all over his body. Anyway, thanks you guys for listening. If you want to support the show, do it at patreon.com/fastbreak breakfast. If you want game day deals on Grizzlies tickets, text buzzer beater to 833-550-0038. For more information, visit grizzlies.com/buzzer beater. You can follow us on Twitter at Fastbreak Break. Follow John, Master John Burr, Chuck the Mighty Chuck. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.
All right.
See you, boys.
Later.